on this earth.
Well, Kalahiri made here a comment which I was thinking about yesterday evening, and I commented to Redmond as well, because we on this boat we have all the equipment to make water from the sea, and then he says, oh, there is enough water in the sea, in the technique to make clean water. So why don't they do it? It's more, I feel like it's more a political problem, you know. Wanting to sort out the problem, then...
It's very expensive, that's the only trouble, but the ideal solution to two big problems, the water and sea level rise, would be to use enough seawater to absorb the seawater rise. You'd be having wonderful showers and baths and saving Bangladesh at the same time.
So you don't
However, no, everybody, it's not very serious.
It sounds good.
But it's a good plan.
Solution.
You have to do it on a vast scale. But look at all the water. It's very distracting sitting here talking about water, because we've suddenly hit the most wonderful area. This sooty shearwaters, I think they are, have just arrived like falcons, and right in over the sea. And then a little Audubon shearwaters enjoying themselves in the wind.
You know, also, if I was just talking to the captain, you know why it is? It's also because we were just... Before, we were sailing, just a few hours ago, we were sailing through one of the deepest seas in the world.
Yes.
We were sailing like 10 kilometer depth.
Yeah.
And now we are hitting the continental shelf, which you can also find a little bit in the wavelength. And we are now suddenly not 10 kilometer, but 2 kilometer deep. And we are nearing 3 islands. Ahead of us are 3 islands. One is a real island, the others are 2 rocks, but they are bird nesting places. We're seeing birds now.
Yes, there's obviously a lot more plankton, a lot more food in the water. But one mystery has been solved on this trip, well, many for me, but I wonder why little storm petrels patter, 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 picking something tiny off the sea surface with their legs dangling down, and then flying off, doing the same again. Well, now we know, or at least rather now I know, thanks to Lana Cheng, who's on board, a scientist, devoted her life to these little things, and they're little bugs, suckers, ocean suckers they should be called, but they're called ocean skaters, and they're absolutely everywhere. Little black spiders going, and they move at 1 meter per second. So that's why the petrels have to be so fast, diving in. Flutter, flutter, flutter. So it's lovely. It's sad, but I can't say anymore. There's the empty ocean before us, because I now visualize it all as millions upon billions of little nasty spiders everywhere.
I have another question here. What strategy do you think is necessary for convincing the politicians to take measures against the global warming? This bit of,
well, we should save that question for Tim Flannery when he comes on board in Sydney, because he's the man who founded the Copenhagen Climate Conference. He knows more about it than anyone on Earth. I don't know. He's doing his very best. He flies in heads of state. He's made tremendous difference. People say, yeah, but look, these aircraft are using so much fuel, it's costing this, that and the other, the footprint's too big for this conference. Well, nonsense, you've got to get the heads of state together. This problem can only be solved by heads of government everywhere in the world.
But in a democracy, heads of government will only solve a problem if the people tell them to solve the problem.
Yes, that's true.
But yeah, people get angry about it, yes. I have another question. Wat zijn C3 planten eigenlijk?
What?
C3 planten eigenlijk. I have no idea.
Can you repeat the question in English?
What are C3 plants actually?
C3.
So Kalahiri asked it, I don't know.
Sea plants?
C3.
Sea trees.
Ask him to Twitter it again.
Yeah. So, Kalahiri, can you please formulate your question better? We don't get it here. So, another question from Marcel Hugening for Redmond. What's the original voyage of Darwin planned in detail regarding placed...
What?
to visit?
What?
Was the original voyage of Darwin
Yeah.
in detail, planned in detail regarding the place they would visit?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, it was all planned by the Admiralty. Where there were gaps in the charts, where they weren't sure about the coastline, it was all absolutely planned. But there was no plan. That was Fitzroy's responsibility whether he went back to somewhere. He didn't think that he'd done it well enough. Well, the man was a perfectionist, absolutely verging on mania. So that's why it took 5 years to survey all these very, very difficult, intricate coastlines, and the charts resulting are still used today. So on the bridge. Amazing achievement, but lucky in a way, lucky for Darwin. He got very bored, he'd had enough by now. But for Fitzroy, it wouldn't have been 5 years, it could have been 1 year at the most. So yeah, it was really planned.
Okay. Now I have a question that has nothing to do with anything, but it's, again, somebody said that you shouldn't be a pirate, and I said you feel too old for it now, and somebody says, I looked up, red text, he says, I looked up, and indeed, Redmond must be much older than Blackbird.
Yes.
So can you imagine he's getting old too? So
yeah,
comments on it?
I'd like to be a pirate, yeah, but I'd be sitting back in my cave, counting the golden doubloons, and working out what my pension would be.
But you can train young pirates.
Yeah, I'd train young pirates. But there were quite sort of slightly scary moments when suddenly there's a fishing vessel. But it's going straight for you, flat out. It's happened 2 or 3 times. And actually, of course, they're just curious. They don't see tall ships like the Cutty Sark coming past more than once every 10 years, perhaps. But they sail absolutely straight at you. And then it's exciting to tell Leonard, a wonderful cameraman, will you please just stand a little bit in front to take the first bullet, because I want to take notes.
So some more questions, then we're finished with our session. Kalahiri sent again the information about the C3 plants. He says C3 is a classification. I thought it was something new.
Okay, we need Sarah.
Yeah, we'll
C3.
ask Sarah, yeah.
She's not good on plants in the sea.
No, C3.
Number 3.
C3?
Yes.
Oh, isn't that omega-long fishy oils?
We don't know. Well,
No.
Kalahiri, we ask Sarah when she's on board, okay? Then we answer your question.
In 2 weeks' time, Sarah will do the switch or something.
I was trying to get the captain yesterday, I was trying to get him interested in this 10-kilometre deep, the Tonga Trench. When I told him what would be down there, I thought he'd really like it, because there's bound to be the odd deep-sea anglerfish. Now, they are amazing-looking things with an esker, a little fishing rod in front, which lights up, a green lure. Well, you know about that, but it's not so well known that how they mate. And the males have no gut at all. They've just got testicles and a tail and a sniffer and a couple of eyes, and they have to find that female, as it were, between breakfast and supper time, all they've had. And they go flat out, and you could see them lodged in her side around here, just with the tail sticking out. And then I said to Richard, well then, I mean, they are the ideal new man, what every woman wants. They never go off to the pub with their mates. They always do the washing up. They never go to the theatre, the cinema alone, and they just don't get slobby around the house. And at that point he said that would be a really terrible life, and he didn't want to hear any more about it. It's a tough captain. But they're down there. They were right underneath us yesterday. And eels with huge jaws and dislocate. And they're about 3 feet long, and the jaw goes like that.
Okay, let's get back to Peru.
All right.
Here. Yes,